Ever since the release of the Seiko NH34 GMT movement, it seems to me that all micro brands are jumping on the bandwagon. And look, it's not really a bad thing because at least these companies are offering variety in some of their watches. However, I got a comment just recently and somebody said, "Pete, you've never had a watch on the channel that you don't like. In other words, you like everything." Well, that's not actually true. There's a lot of watches that I don't like purposefully and I don't get them on the channel. It's just they don't do anything for me. I look at the specs, I think not interested. But occasionally a watch gets through the filter that I don't like and I want to share my thoughts on that. And this is such a watch. Now Phoibos is not that bad a brand. They make a decent watch. I've had quite a few Phoibos watches on the channel. In fact, the Vortex that I reviewed I think was phenomenal. A very nice, innovative, fresh and very creative watch. Built well, Salida movement, I was really impressed with that watch. And now that Phoibos have sent me out this Phoibos Voyager GMT, I've got to be honest, it's a combination of a few things in this watch that I don't like. And I'm going to share that with you guys today. Now when it comes to micro brands, every company has their own take on how they make watches, where they get their parts, how they supply things. And with this particular brand, Phoibos, like I said, I really enjoyed their previous watch, the Vortex. I think that was a wonderful piece. Innovative, creative, very nicely made, very nicely designed, built well, the tolerances were good. And although this is close in its build quality and tolerances, I just feel that this design looks a little bit tired in my eyes and could do with a refresh. But that's not my problem. The problem is there's a couple of mismatches in this particular watch that have sort of left me wanting, and I'll share that. Now you saw the pop-up, guys. This watch has been sent out to the channel by Phoibos. I don't have to send it back. However, as normal, any company that sends any product into this channel has zero input into the review content. I'll tell you what I think, good, bad and indifferent. Let's get on with the specs firstly. I measure a case diameter of 39mm with a case height 14.9. The lug to lug is exactly 45 and a lug width of 20. Now the crown comes in at 6.3mm. It's a signed screw down crown. The watch offers 200 meters of water resistance and the total weight on this bracelet sized to my 18cm wrist comes in at exactly 160 grams. Now looking at the overhead of the watch, you can see that the footprint is fine. 39mm, 45 lug to lug, not an issue. That height I have a bit of an issue with. It comes in at 14.9, closer to 15. The specification said 13.5 and it was a bit of a shock to get this watch and see it that far out in its sizing. So maybe a misprint, I don't know, but yeah, I measure this one at closer to 15mm as compared to 13.5mm that was quoted. Now the comfort of this bracelet has been good, albeit the weight at 160 grams is noticeable several hours into wearing the watch. Now looking closely at that bracelet, we can see the articulation is good. You got female end links, they're solid. You got screw pins as well as a milled clasp and decent hardware, as you can see. However, it only features 3 micro adjustments. Now if I turn my attention to that dial, you can see it's a blue sunburst dial, and I've got to be honest with you guys, the color of that blue is perfect. It's so nice, it's so inviting, and again, therein lies one of my problems. That color is perfect. This external blue on the bezel, the ceramic, I really don't like. It's a mismatch and it just doesn't work visually. I'm a colorist, I'm a photographer, and I'm looking at this all day and I'm thinking, gee, it would have been great if they had that color down here. It's not complimentary, it really isn't, in my eyes. However, moving away from that, the layout of the dial is your standard Voyager. Now it's not a traveler's GMT, it's a caller's GMT. The Seiko NH34 is a caller's GMT. In other words, when you unscrew that crown, instead of the hour hand moving independently with a first click, you've got the GMT hand moving. So single click clockwise and you can see that GMT hand is moving. And one of the issues, and I think this is an inherent issue with the Seiko NH35, that sometimes it just doesn't line up. So in other words, if I was to get it to an exact hour there, 6 o'clock, the GMT hand itself is not spot on that marker. And I've had that with a couple of watches. I think it's inherent with that particular unit itself, the Seiko NH34. But moving on, the hand winding experience is quite nice, and the latch down experience, again, quite nice. Locks in and you've got your 200 meters of water resistance. Now the watch features a double dome sapphire crystal. It's doing a decent job with the AR. There's no real washout. In that department I don't have any qualms whatsoever. Now if I turn my attention to that bezel, it's a 24 click bi-directional bezel. So it caters for hour increments and it also goes in both directions. So let's have a look at it. So it's good that it's bi-directional, but it would have been great if it was actually a 48 click because it would have catered for 30-minute increments. But the fact that it's a bi-directional, it's a good thing. Now speaking of that lume, the watch features 15 layers of BGW9 Superluminova. And again, in that department, I haven't had any issues. It's clean, it's applied evenly, and it's doing a good job. So overall, Phoibos have provided the standard Voyager with a GMT module. Now what are the positives and negatives of this watch? And I'm going to touch on the negatives first. And for me, the first negative is the mismatch of the dial color to the actual bezel. I really like the dial, I like the tonality, I like its shade of blue, it's wonderful. I just don't think that the blue on the bezel suits it in any way or form, and that's a shame. Second negative is that height. At 13.5 I thought, yeah, this would have been nice as the specs say, but coming in at closer to 15, it feels a little bit slab-sided, it feels a little bit chunky. And having that vertical brushing on the side of the case as the Voyager normally has, it really isn't doing it any favors in regards to being a slab-sided chunky experience. It just feels pronounced on the wrist. Legibility on the watch has been okay. It's not been exceptional, but it has been okay. And the reason I say that, when I reviewed the yellow version of this watch, the non-GMT, I thought that was phenomenal. That was fantastic. And even that height, it was a non-GMT module and the height of that watch was comfortable. Another negative of the watch, again, that GMT hand, it does not line up. And whether that's an inherent fault of the Seiko NH34, I'm not sure, but just something to note. The date window, I do like the fact that it's framed, however, I cannot see it in some lighting situations. It's a little bit deep, it's a little bit dark. And probably the last negative of this watch is that clasp. You've only got 3 micro adjustments. At this sort of level, we should be really getting on the fly micros, or maybe a couple more holes in there, just for versatility. And if I really want to be nitpicky, I'll add one more into the negatives. 160 grams, it's getting on the heavier side. For a 39mm, that is quite heavy, that is quite chunky. Now, what are the positives of this watch? Well, first cab off the rank, the lume, it's very good. It's solid, it's built well. The bezel action is very good. I like the fact that you got a 24 click bi-directional bezel, that's a big plus. The NH34 movement is a solid, robust movement, so we shouldn't have any problems there. And lastly, the fact that the watch offers a 2-year warranty. Now, as far as price goes, I'll leave all the links in the description. Get on their website, have a look. It's the Phoibos Voyager GMT 200m automatic. A decent offering, but like I said, for me, I don't like the watch for all the reasons I stated. That's me. I just feel that a company like Phoibos can do so much better, and they've proved it with their Vortex. When they decide to pull the pen out and do something nice, they really can. Hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you all in the next video.